So, sometimes figuring out how are you going to weave all of this together can be a daunting question, especially if you're just starting out. And I would say the easiest way, start showing up as all of you.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Sharice Williams Show, the podcast created specifically for nurses who are looking to create, launch, and scale their online coaching businesses from a place of ease and flow. I am Sharice, and I'm so excited to bring to you today a very special guest, someone that is near and dear to me, Chaitali Desai. Hey there, Chaitali.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. I am so excited to really jump into our topic today, which is alternative healing modalities for nursepreneurs. And so I want to go ahead and read your bio before we jump into it. How's that sound?
Sure. Okay, sounds good.
All right. So you guys, Chaitali Desai is a business and success mentor who takes high achievers from stuck to unstuck. Chaitali is, as a proof of concept mentor, Chaitali has spent many years learning, implementing, and realigning herself to scale to the top. In addition to achieving a Bachelor of Science in Molecular Genetics, which sounds very fascinating, molecular genetics, and medical technology, Chaitali holds multiple certifications across many industries and modalities, including a Master of Neural Change, a Master NLP, Master Reiki, Certified Master Coach of Excellence, Board Certified in Hypnosis, Human Design, and EFT, or Emotional Freedom Technique. With her experience and proven results, Chaitali has become the go-to for transformation and impact for leaders across many industries. So welcome, Chaitali.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited for your podcast. This is so huge. And everything that you're doing to help your fellow nurses is really fabulous. Or not even nurses only, like the whole medical field.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys, I got to give you a little background. Chaitali and I have known each other for probably 3 years, something like that. Has it been 3?
Yeah.
I know. Time flies. Time flies. It's been amazing. Yeah. We worked together when I first launched my business. And from day one that I met Chaitali, I'm like, she's fabulous. I just love her. And then, you know how you end up developing relationships online. And so we, of course, will always see each other online and comment on each other's things and just kind of supporting each other, being each other's biggest fans. And then, you had me on your podcast maybe a year ago. I'm not even sure when that was.
God, yeah, I think so. A little over a year ago, probably.
Yeah.
Man, the dates are like...
I know, time flies. Time flies. And that on your interview, I think we talked a little bit about, I'm not even sure. We talked about a lot of stuff. It was a really fabulous interview. And the funny thing, y'all, is we did the interview and then we forgot to record. We were so enthralled in the conversation. It was such a good, juicy conversation. And I know. And then we forgot to record it. And then we did it again. And it was even juicier.
It was even better. Exactly.
I know.
Beautiful. And the conversation to this day, I still hold on to that one line that it's always safer to go deeper.
Oh,
like it's left such an impact since then.
I feel like I did.
Yeah.
I love it. It's always safer to go deeper, and it's required. I mean, honestly, that's where all the good stuff is. Stuff is.
Yeah, it is. But I think for so many, it's scary, right? Because we live in such a world where between instant gratification and wanting to be like picture perfect at all the times, that it's daunting for people. I mean, it was daunting I'll say it was daunting for me. I'm not gonna.
I would agree as well. And for the longest time, you and I have we have many mutual friends, but one of them being Laura. And years ago, I can't even tell you, probably 5+ years ago. And she said it many times over the years. She would say, Sharice, you gotta go deeper. And I'm like, I don't wanna.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think it stayed with me when you said it to me. And I was like, oh goodness, I thought I was. And you're like, no, you can deepen the world. I'm like,
there's always another layer.
There was some eye rolls involved. And then I had to like grit my teeth and say, fine, I'm going to do this. And then it's exactly what I've done. And I'm telling you, I know we were talking about onions, like how every
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Seriously. I don't know.
I
can't believe how many layers there are to this onion.
It's really interesting. Lots of layers to the onion. But like I said, all the what I have found is as you continue to go deeper, your experience, your life experience becomes richer and richer. And then the evolution of your self-identity, we were talking about that earlier, the evolution of your self-identity and everything that's connected with that, which is relationships with family, your business, all of it gets richer as well because you yourself are going deeper.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like creating firmer roots or foundation.
So
And then
true.
once that's solid, or as solid as it in the moment,
Mhm.
you can build up. But I've noticed that as you start to go deeper and create deeper roots, there's like richness, and
Agreed.
there's the texture and the tone of how you show up.
Different.
It's so beautiful. It's like velvety almost. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's
No,
that
that's a great word. I
there's
agree.
something about it.
There is something about it. And it's funny that both you and I both said, the thought initially, the thought of going deeper is like, I don't want to, like, no. Why? And so what do you think that resistance is about?
Oh, fear.
Yeah,
100%.
always,
Because
right?
100%, because look, it's a fear of actually we want to be seen, but on our terms, right? And now
Conditional.
thank you. That's a
Yeah.
great way to look at it, actually. Um, you want to hit society's norms of, okay, this is the way to be, and this is what's accepted. But then when you're over here, kind of in left field, so to speak, it's daunting. And
Mhm.
as we were talking earlier, my background is so colorful, but I don't always talk about it. Not just from out of fear, but like, you avoid the full context of the conversation and you just talk about the hot topic, so to speak, or the
Yeah,
one that will be socially acceptable. But
right.
it's when we start shifting that thought process, then you're like full badassery can be out on
You
display.
know what? I'm so glad you said badassery. I use that word all the time. Badassery. And it's really about what I'm hearing you say is really about being unapologetically all of you, like really showing up fully expressed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it's through taking radical self-responsibility.
Hello. Can you say that again?
Yeah. I mean, you
And
got to
loving,
show up for you, man.
you do, and being willing to love every aspect of yourself, which sounds like, oh yeah, I love myself, but do you?
But do you?
But do you?
Yeah.
Every aspect of it, because typically there's some part that you're like, oh, but except for this part, but no, fully showing up, being able to show up fully expressed and really owning who you are. Talk about going deeper. It really goes deeper to the point of loving every aspect of yourself. Not be afraid, not being ashamed, not being whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What, were you gonna say something?
Yeah. It's like it's learning to actually know yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we have, again, going back to conditioning, we have a certain way that we appear in the world
Mm-hmm.
through no fault. There's no judgment, no blame,
Right.
none of that here. But that's the reality. So
Mm-hmm.
many of us, especially women, we're walking on this path that we were conditioned to be on,
Mm-hmm.
right? So back in the day, it was, okay, you have to go to school, you go to university, you get married, you have your 2.5 kids, the white
Right.
picket
Picket
fence,
fence,
all of
all of
that.
that. Yeah.
But is it really what you wanted? Right? So that's what I'm saying when it comes to like this radical responsibility. You get to ask yourself these questions, and it doesn't mean that you're going to throw your life out,
Yeah.
but you get to rewrite so much of it.
Absolutely. And also, keeping in mind that we're always changing, we're always evolving, particularly if we are intentionally choosing to do so. Um, and knowing and being okay with things change and things shift. Like you mentioned, going to school and getting married and the 2.5 kids. And that's cool if that's what you wanted. And then guess what? At some point, it's okay to say, you know what? I don't think I even want that anymore. Not like you're going to give your kids back or anything like that.
Right.
But
Right.
the image, the ideal life can change and probably will change if you'll allow it to. If you're not so connected and tied to what was expected, unless again that was in 100% alignment. But what I found is, and my husband and I were having this conversation actually earlier today, is that what was once aligned isn't even aligned anymore. Isn't even aligned anymore. We're in a place right now. We're shifting, our lifestyle. We raised our kids. Our kids now are 20, 21 and 25. And we built this house, the house that I'm recording from the ground up. And, that's what we wanted. And it's huge, like 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. It's huge. It's so not in alignment anymore. We are so totally downsizing, but upscaling, which is really exciting.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, but more to come on that. But it's like, this isn't even, we're like, it served its purpose. This is what we wanted at the time for the last 15 years. But now it's like, we both want something different. So. And
that's beautiful. Good. And I love how you put that, like it's essentially an up level when you're fully accepting of yourself, right? And we can talk about different ways to learn who you actually are. But when you start to like play with it, like that childlike curiosity to be like, oh, I wonder what this will feel like. It's like trying on clothes.
Yeah, so true.
And you get to play with it. And I think it's a beautiful way to look at life even, right? Like, okay, so my background being in molecular genetics, it's the sciences, I wanted to help people, doing it from the background because I don't like to touch people. So I'm like, great, I'm going to do it in the laboratory. Yeah, I knew that much. I'm like, I'm just going to step back here in the laboratory and do it. But I didn't realize where it was going to take me to today. Right. So I think no matter if you're an entrepreneur, a nursepreneur, or you're like, I just love my job, that's okay. You get to be all of you in every aspect of it. And so I think it's really fascinating that once you start giving yourself that permission slip to say, I just love this.
Yeah.
And then you move from that, right? And you take that intention, that feeling, and you put it into everything else that you're doing. It is amazing.
I agree. And kind of staying on that same line, we were talking about how we have all these different aspects of us. Like we learn clearly, like you love learning. I love learning. Most of the nurses that I know, nursepreneurs that I know, they love learning. And particularly as it relates to, alternative healing modalities, but not knowing, okay, should I do this? Can I do this? Even though it's something that you may have learned for yourself, but now it's like, okay, well, how do I kind of create a business out of this? And so what I would love for you to share with us, because I know you have a varied backgrounds in terms of, Reiki, being Master Reiki certified, and NLP and hypnosis and chakras and probably lots of other. We were saying we've got so many certifications. We don't even know what we're certified in anymore. It's so funny. It's such a beautiful thing, but why is it important? Why are those different healing modalities in your mind, important as it relates to stress management for nursepreneurs?
Oh my goodness. You know why? In the day and time we're living, we're working longer hours. We're sleeping shorter. We're probably not eating amazingly because we're busy. And all of that starts to really impact, obviously, our physical body, but your nervous system. And we're hearing so much come out about nervous system dysregulation. And the more dysregulated you are, you're disconnected from your physical body. So it's like your energy is doing something, but your body is doing something else. And what it feels like is this, it's almost like this really extreme feeling of spaciness. Like you could have been cooking, but then forgot you were doing something over in the other room, kind of a thing,
Yes.
And it's causing burnout. It's causing depression. It's causing, we can go down the laundry list, but it's this disconnection, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. That just, and here's the crazy thing, is that we have become so dysregulated, but we are remaining in a dysregulated state that now it's kind of become our norm. And we're like, oh yeah, this is just the way I am. And it's like, because we've not either been taught. I think because it's the level of awareness. We don't have the level of awareness around, okay, yeah, you know what? number one, I didn't even know that I was supposed to regulate my nervous system. Number two, I didn't realize I was dysregulated until you actually start implementing some like you literally start implementing nervous system regulation, and you're like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to feel. I'm supposed to feel calm and relaxed and grounded. I am empowered. I'm supposed to feel like this, huh? I thought I was fine. For me, that was my story. I'm like, I thought I was fine. I was blowing it, going, doing this and that. I was absolutely fine. And then once I realized, okay, you're not regulating your nervous system and the importance of regulating your nervous system, I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. This is great. This is beautiful. And now, I mean, literally, I don't know if you heard my alarm go off a second ago. I have an alarm set every hour. And it's nervous system regulation. It goes off every hour, and I take 90 seconds to just do alternate nostril breathing. Every hour, 90 seconds. And at first I thought, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna have time to do that. But I do. I find that I do. So, and
It's
go
true.
ahead. Yeah.
It comes down to the prioritizing of what we really think is important.
Yeah.
Right? Like we all have the same 24 hours. It's how we delegate that time.
Right.
And I'm fascinated. I've heard about nervous system regulation. I had someone on the podcast on talking about nervous system regulation, but to understand it to the point that it is paramount now,
Absolutely.
it's no longer something nice to do for yourself. It's becoming somewhat of a requirement because it's not like life is slowing down.
Oh no, if anything, it's speeding up. If anything.
And we want to be able to move with it. So when you're dysregulated, I'm sure your viewers, our listeners have heard freeze, flight, fawn.
Fight, freeze, and fawn. Yeah, fight, freeze, and
those
fawn.
F's, I have to say them slowly because
I know.
Over them. They all sound the same.
Yeah, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Yes.
Yeah. And so it's shifting out of that and starting to feel, it's not peace. It's like this weird tranquility. It's a calm.
Tranquility is a great word. Yeah. To describe
it's like a calm, but like it's humming the whole time. Like your body is going. It's not like you're not sitting on the top of a mountain saying Om all day, which, it's great if that's your thing. But it's this, like, I talk about like Ferraris a lot. I don't even own one, and I'm not that familiar with how the motor works, but it sounds sexy. And that's what your body starts to sound like.
Yeah.
And it feels like, even though it's calm, like, that you could go $120 in a second. Right. But it's from a space of wholeness, of a connectedness, and really understanding how you utilize your energy for your benefit and how to move with it instead of constantly fighting yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think,
no, that's so beautiful. And so, because life, like to your point, life is not slowing down. If anything, it's speeding up, or at least it feels like it's speeding up. We are at an all-time high statistically around with diagnosis of depression and anxiety, and a spectrum of other mental health issues, disorders, if you will, or diseases, if you will. And so I know one thing that you're really passionate about. I know you're multi-passionate, but one of the things that you're passionate about is hypnosis. And so talk to us a little bit about hypnosis, why that's even important, how that works, getting us down from that, from our beta to theta to alpha to delta, and why that's important, and then what can be accomplished from that. Particularly since, again, nurses, but nursepreneurs, right? And so building a business, a lot of our listeners are still working as either nurse practitioner, physician, right? They still have that piece, but they're transitioning. And so, which adds a whole nother complexity or a whole nother level, potentially, of stress. And so,
sure. Because now you're balancing two jobs, basically, right? And that's before life. So hypnosis, first off, it's science. It's not like voodoo or mind control or any of that nonsense. And what's important to understand is we go in and out of hypnosis every day, all day. And I think that's so important to understand. When you go to sleep, you actually pass through hypnosis, because hypnosis is a lower brain wave state. So we go from beta to alpha to theta, and delta is when you're asleep. In hypnosis, we function in theta. And what that does is So you have your conscious mind, the one that you thinks. Then you have your subconscious mind. So if you think of like an iceberg, your conscious mind is like that top 5% that you can see. Your subconscious mind, inner mind, is everything below the water. Can't see it, but it's definitely it's actually the boss.
It is the boss
It
indeed.
is the
No doubt
strongest
about it.
part. Yeah, it's the strongest part of your mind. And it is where, for lack of a better way to put it, it's where your belief system sits.
It is. It's our. It's. Well, I was going to just interject. It's our prior. It's our programming. It's our
Yeah.
prior beliefs, our limiting beliefs. It's our past traumas. It's our. It's everything. That's why it's the one that's running the show. Our subconscious is always running the show. And so, really, if you're wanting to create massive change in anything, the change happens on that at that subconscious level.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't.
No, 100%. And what's beautiful about it is, in hypnosis, we speak directly to the subconscious. We bypass you'll hear it called like the quote unquote logical mind, the monkey mind. It's actually the
It's the
weakest
analytical.
part.
Yeah, we bypass the analytical piece. And I think this is really important to kind of point out because, particularly as clinicians, oh my gosh, we are super hyper analytical. And it makes sense as it relates to medicine, right? Because it could mean the difference between life and death in a clinical setting. However, when you're building a business, there's nothing really life or death when it comes to building a business. And so what's important is that we bypass that analytical part of our brain, so we don't overthink it, because that's not we've already established that's not where we're operating from. And it's what's underneath that. So that's why hypnosis is important, to kind of go underneath that analytical part of our brain to get to really the core of what's really going on.
And we shift that. Exactly. We shift those core ideas. Yeah. And all of us, you, me, all humans, we have something called the gatekeeper. So it's not going to allow something that you and your core don't believe in. Meaning, you guys have probably seen like stage show hypnosis where they tell you to cluck like a chicken.
Yeah, right.
It's because that's something that you would do for fun in real time. But I'll give you an example. There was a stage show where the clinician asked the participants to do like a little dirty dancing on the stage with somebody else. So like, kind of a flirtatious thing. And this gentleman was like, no, I can't do it. He wouldn't do it under hypnosis. So the stage hypnotist was like, oh, wait, why aren't you doing it? He's like, well, I'm married. And so then the husband's like, the hypnotist is like, oh, okay, well, your wife's not going to mind. She's probably out in the show. And he's like, no, my wife's not here and I can't do it because that's not who I am. That is the power of your gatekeeper. It's not going to let you do nonsense, and it's not going to accept nonsense that's not aligned with who you are.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important concept to understand because of how
it's been
hypnosis has been portrayed. Yeah. Your body, your internal system will only accept what's for your highest and best good. Going back to clinicians, hello, stress. Through hypnosis, because we lower the brainwave activity, your body automatically de-stresses because we're working in the nervous system. So it'll decrease your blood pressure. It will decrease cortisol levels. It will decrease your fight, flight, freeze, because we're calming everything down, which as a clinician, as a person, as a business owner, you want to manage your stress from a health standpoint anyways. This is such an easy way to do it, and the benefits are long-term and quite rapid because we're bypassing the analytical factor of your brain.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And so is this, I'm just, some of the questions that I'm sure are coming up as you're speaking is this something you can do for yourself or with yourself? Does it have to be self-led? Talk to us a little bit more about that. Self-led, I mean guided. Can it be self-led or does it have to be guided?
It can be both. So you can do self-hypnosis. Anytime you keep saying, I am this, I am that, you're hypnotizing yourself. Whatever you're saying on repeat. So bring awareness to what the thought patterns are. If you're constantly someone who's saying, I don't have enough time, guess what? You're never going to have enough time.
Yeah.
If you're always saying, oh gosh, I'm just so flighty, but are you? Or are you just saying that because it's become a habit? Like, bring awareness to what you are actually saying.
Yeah, this is so funny. This is actually making me. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this is actually bringing to our conversation that we had on your podcast, the power of language, the power of our language. And we think that, I'm just saying words. No, words have power. They are never neutral. They're either empowering or disempowering. And they're always directing our mind, which controls our thoughts, which control our behaviors. And so they're either empowering or disempowering, but they're never neutral. So when you're saying things like you just mentioned about, oh, I'm so flighty, or, I don't, whatever it is, whatever the disempowering things that you say, you're just reaffirming that. And then guess what? Or things like, I always say this, I share this with my clients, when we go around saying, I'm so tired, like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Listen, no one has ever gotten more energy by professing and affirming how tired they are. And so, and I've played this with myself so many times. And so I always encourage, my clients to do this. When you find yourself saying, oh my God, I'm so tired. Oh my goodness, I'm just so tired. Awareness, number one, stop yourself in your tracks. And then affirm what it is that you actually really want. One of the things I did for years, so I would say, I have an abundant amount of energy. Even when I was dead tired, like I would say, I have an abundant amount of energy. I have an abundant amount of energy. And I just be doing my thing. I have an abundant amount of energy. And before you know it, guess what? You're like just zipping along and you have an abundant amount of energy because your words control your thoughts. Your thoughts control your behavior and the feeling that you have, right? Your thoughts control your feelings control your behavior. And so just play around with it. I always tell people, you don't have to believe me. Try it out for yourself.
And here's why, though. Here's why that worked. Even though you didn't have the energy, you were claiming you did.
Yeah.
Because your subconscious mind does not know true from false. Doesn't know real from make-believe. So if you've been sitting around creating all of these stories, you don't have enough time, there's not enough money, whatever scarcity thought processes you've had.
Can I build a business? I won't be successful in business. Well, if you keep saying that, or even if you keep feeling that, you're absolutely not going to be.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because the subconscious mind
who am I to
does
launch
not
a
know
business?
real from fake.
It doesn't.
All it knows is what you're saying.
That's it.
Exactly.
So powerful. Language is so powerful.
Yep. So you can practice the self-hypnosis this way. Or obviously you could work with somebody and really bypass. The benefit of working with somebody is you're not alert in the sense of like you have it done to you and your thinking gets put to the side. But if from day to day experiences, what do you actually want? Right? Ask yourself these questions because again, as we start, like we shared in the beginning of this episode, we've become so disconnected. So really stepping in and asking yourself these questions like, okay, well, what do I really want? Okay, what kind of business do I want? How am I going to build this business? And I'll tell you for myself, because I have such a colorful background, my husband always is like, oh, you're such a Renaissance woman. He's half being like a wise guy and half being sincere about it. And it's true. So, sometimes figuring out how are you going to weave all of this together can be a daunting question, especially if you're just starting out. And I would say the easiest way, start showing up as all of you. Your strongest gifts will show themselves.
Absolutely.
And you lead from there.
Yeah. The more that you lean into that, the more the more it shows up. And one thing I want to ask, I know that, you and I have this level of conversation between us, all the time is your intuition, not discounting your intuition. And if you have a nudge, if you have you can't, it's like a calling to do something and you don't know why, but it's like, do this. Again, instead of let it stop here and you overanalyze it, but why? But who? But that. No. Trusting your intuition. Some people call it a gut feeling. Some people call it their higher self, your guidance, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. Trusting it and knowing that it's there for a reason. It's speaking to you for a reason, whether it's audible or just that nudge, like you I feel like I'm supposed to, whatever. and trusting that and allowing that to be enough. We don't always have to know the answer, but we get to trust that our intuition is guiding us.
Yeah.
So,
And for your listeners, a great way to start incorporating that shift, turn it into a game.
yes.
Look, I'm super analytical. You can't help but be that way coming from the sciences, right?
Right.
Because as you said, like in certain cases, it is life or death, right? And so the fastest way is to start turning it into a game. Like, oh, that's weird. I feel like I need to go right today instead of my normal left. Play with it. You never know what's around the right. You never know what's around that next corner. So incorporating that like childlike curiosity.
Yes.
Oh, I wonder if I put this post out, what's going to happen? Instead of having already a set outcome or, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get that.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not going to lie. It is, you're building a muscle here.
Yes.
But turn it into a game, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it's always like a curiosity. I wonder, what if? And then try it. If you didn't like how that played out, play with it. What can you shift?
Yeah, I think we get so serious. I think we get so serious in life. But I love that you said, just play with it. And it is very fun. And here's the thing too, oftentimes we want to know all the answers on the front end before we trust. But it's like, again, look at it from an approach of just playing with it. And what happens is when you play with it and you like, okay, let me just see, let me go left instead of right or whatever, then you end up seeing, oh, that's why. But it only happens afterwards. You can't.
It does.
Yeah. And so, but it is a fun thing. It's such a fun thing to just play with it. So yeah.
It is. So like a lot of that I learned as I stepped into my human design. Like you'll often hear people talk about human design as an experiment, because really, as I know we've talked before, like you're unlearning all the conditioning to really learn who you are, who you were designed to be. And so much of it is an experiment because you're learning a whole new way. So bringing that sense of curiosity, bringing that sense of like, what if? Your kids are older, but when my kids were younger, there was this show on PBS Kids called Wildcrats, and that's always their question: what if? And then they go into the experiment. So I think it's just a really cool way to, one, kind of calm down your analytical mind if you're not fully ready or you're like playing into it. Man, turn it into a game. Yeah, because you can be serious in like a competitive way, but at the same time, it's a game. So you're kind of like going back and forth, and it makes it easier for you to step into all of you and to bring all of that forward.
Yeah, so true. So true. And you have, what's coming up for me to share is like, you have nothing to lose. It's not life or death of anything. Just be open and willing, to say, okay, what if?
What if?
I love it. So yeah. What else comes to mind when you think about like some of the things that are either misunderstandings around hypnosis or some of the benefits? I mean, we've already shared some of the benefits of hypnosis, but what else can you share with us about hypnosis as it relates to stress reduction or in general? I don't even want to put a qualifier on it.
Hypnosis is beautiful for everything. Like there isn't anything that it cannot help with. Most common are insomnia, weight management, smoking cessations. But, Michael Jordan used it. Tiger Woods used it. Why? Because they wanted to be able to focus on their game. So we're talking peak performance.
Right.
You'll hear more and more people have been leveraging alternative tools like hypnosis to get better. Tiger Woods actually started with hypnosis to help with his stuttering. And then he transitioned it. Yeah. About 12, 13 years old. And then they transitioned it into like, okay, I need to be able to focus when I'm on the golf pitch so I can drown out the noise around me. Imagine if he did not use hypnosis. Would we have the same Tiger Woods? I don't know, man. So many questions there. But so many people use some form of hypnosis or visualization in this manner to train their brain. You actually probably heard a lot of it from sports people. They will play the whole game in their mind already as if it's already been done. so that when they're in the game, they're at their best. And that's actually
Yeah.
a form of hypnosis. That's actually a
Yeah.
self-hypnosis, to answer
Yeah.
your other question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That mental rehearsal. I remember it was Odell Beckham Jr. when he made that one catch, like he was like leaning back. It was almost at a 45-degree angle. I don't know if you remember. It was during a football game. I think he was with the Giants at the time. I'm
With
not
the
sure.
Giants.
Yeah. And so he was like almost at a 45-degree angle, and he caught the ball, and everyone was like, "Oh my God!" And they went crazy. He was like, "I practice this all the time, mentally." I think he said he also practices it on the field, but I remember him saying very distinctly, "I have caught that ball in my mind like this dozens of times." So it was almost like a reaction for him to catch it like that. Now, of course, none of us were privy to what was going on inside his mind. So, of course, everyone on the outside was like, "Oh my God, how did he do that? That was amazing." And he's like, "I've been doing that in here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true. Listen, I think as your listeners start to really bring awareness to what they're thinking, one, they're going to be shocked at all the negativity that they've probably been saying unknowingly.
Yeah.
And two, you're in the driver's seat, but you've given the keys away.
Say that again, Chaitali. That is
like
so good.
You're in the driver's seat. You are there. Now own it.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, own it. And maybe you need permission. I know we talk about permission all the time. Even as grown adults, we need it sometimes. So let this be your permission slip to, one, bring awareness to what is actually happening in your mind. What is it that you have on repeat as self-hypnosis already?
Right.
Two, get in the driver's seat. Everything else can sit over in the passenger seat, but you get to be in control.
Yeah. Yeah. So powerful. And, it's been said, we have anywhere from 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And the majority of those thoughts are repeat thoughts of the previous day. And I think this is probably one of the most fascinating pieces of this discussion is that about 90% of our thoughts are negative thoughts. So can you imagine 90% of our thoughts are negative thoughts, and they're on repeat day after day after day after day. And we wonder why, we think we don't have negative thoughts. We think, oh, I'm a positive person. Yeah, but what's underneath all of that? And you mentioned you asked a really important question a second ago. What is it that you want? I ask this question a lot of potential clients, and it's so easy for us to say, okay, what I don't want is I don't want to work 12-hour shifts anymore. I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to have to clock it
all
again.
the don'ts.
Wait, you said what you don't want.
Yeah.
Now let's rewind. What do you want? And it sounds like a very simple question, but I cannot tell you how difficult of a question that is for many people to answer as it relates to life, relationships, business. It's like, well, I don't want a man that does X. No. We're not talking about what you don't want. What do you want? And it's I was gonna say it's funny. It's not really funny, but it just really speaks to the programming, and it speaks to, again, it's not about our conscious mind, it's our subconscious. And so we know that if we want to create different results, what's required is that we have to reprogram that subconscious.
Yes.
We have to really bring our conscious mind in alignment with our subconscious mind. That way we're on one accord and we're moving forward. Otherwise, it's that constant battle of, it's that one step forward, two steps back. I want to start my business, but what if I don't do it good? Or I want to be more visible online, but what are people going to say? And maybe I don't know what to say. Well, it's one step forward, two steps back, because your conscious and your subconscious mind are not in alignment. So you're always going to have that issue of not making the progress that it is that you're wanting to make in business, in life, in love, in all the things. In all the things. Yeah.
100%, because you're not in congruence, and it comes back to being connected. Not only connected to who you are, but connected to what do you want?
What you want.
That has been such
Not what you don't want.
Always ask, I'm like, okay, what's the point?
Yeah.
And it sounds, on the face of it, I can understand it's a harsh question, but when you get to know me, I am that direct. What do you want? You can give me all the fluff, but underneath the fluff, what is there?
What do you really want?
What do you want?
What do you really want? Yeah.
It is an important question to really start asking yourself across the board.
Yeah.
business,
I think
life.
it's all of it, all the things. And I think it's important too, because I know some of the listeners might be thinking like, okay, well, how exactly, like, I think I know what I want. So this is an exercise that I can share with you that you can do, or you can actually have someone do it with you. Either way, it's not more powerful one way or the other. It's whatever you have access to. Some people are like, they're not around other people unnecessarily, but ask yourself, what do you want? And then ask yourself why.
Yeah.
No judgment, and don't judge it. It is what it is. Just grab a piece of paper, write it down. What do you want? Why do you want it? No judgment. Then ask again, what do you want? And why do you want it? No judgment.
Keep going deeper.
Keep 3 times, 4, however many times you want. This is when you know you've gotten there, when you start to evoke emotion.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the point, it's you won't know it's coming. No. I've done this exercise. I can't tell you how many times. You don't know it's coming. You're like, well, I want to have a successful business. Because I don't want to work for someone else. Okay, and why is that important? Or what else do you really want? Oh, I want to be able to travel the world and have the resources to do that because I don't get a chance to do that now. Okay, and what else do you really want? And you keep going and make sure you're saying the because, right? Like, why is that important to you? And then all of a sudden you're like, because and that's it. That is what you really, not to say that the other things is not what you wanted. Yes, they are, but this is the core of it. So go there. We'll talk about going. We started this whole podcast with going deeper. This is a way that you can go deeper. Go there. Deeper. And it's all good. And the biggest part about it is, and I can't emphasize this enough, don't judge it. A lot of times it's like, well, because I want to make more money and well, my money's back. No, that's a program. That's a belief. That's a subconscious belief. So don't let it say what you need to say. Write it out with no judgment attached to it. And then keep going deeper. And then keep going deeper. And you're done when it evokes emotion.
100%.
Yeah. Hypnosis. I am loving this topic. I am loving, I'll have to have you on again to speak specifically about chakras and healing around that. And I know we had to share with all the healers that are listening, right? Because nurses are healers, nurse practitioners. If you are a female clinician, you are a healer for sure. To talk more about chakras and how can, and how that ties into our healing, how we can share that with our clients, all the things from food to colors to movements and all that good stuff.
Sense and all of it, definitely.
Sense, yeah, good stuff. So this has been such an important conversation to have, and I want to thank you so much for coming on, for spending time educating us around hypnosis, the importance of it, particularly how it plays into reduction of stress for nursepreneurs. We talked a lot about even regulating the importance of regulating our nervous system and awareness. Awareness has come up a lot in our conversation together here today.
Yeah.
So any other closing thoughts or closing words that you want to share with those that are listening?
No, listen, if it's in your heart, it was planted there for a reason. Be open to exploring it. If you need support, get support. If you need to talk it out with somebody, call somebody, but work into what the point of it is and why is it important to you. It's there for a reason. Don't ignore it. Because on the flip side, as we just to say quickly, when we ignore stuff, that's when you start to feel heavy about things. Physically, you can be heavy, emotionally, energetically. It is real. And that's where a lot of that disease starts to function or starts to form. So acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. And again, there's so many different ways to reprogram to get into alignment. Mm-hmm. Find what's right for you. But it all starts with 1, the awareness, 2, the curiosity, and 3, playing with it. You have everything to win.
Yes, I love that. You have everything to win. It's so true. So repeat again. Awareness, awareness. I know the last one was playfulness. What was the second?
Awareness.
Oh, man.
I said it and it's gone.
I know. Acknowledge. I know acknowledge was there.
Be curious. Like, play with it.
Yes. It's okay. Guess what?
I don't know.
guess what? It doesn't matter. You know why? Because they're going to be able to click the rewind
They
button.
can go
Listen
rewind.
to it.
Exactly.
Thank God for technology. So it's all good. It is so good. It's, it is what it is. I love it. It just gives them an opportunity to hear it again in the, as you said it. I know you have something really fun and exciting to share with the listeners.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I created a deep sleep hypnosis because, again, when we're driven, when we're entrepreneurial, when we are working in the medical field, the hours are long.
Yeah.
And we must start taking care of ourselves. You cannot catch up on sleep.
Yeah.
So the deep sleep hypnosis can be used for a power nap, or it can be used to help drift off into like the best sleep ever.
Sweet.
But start taking care of yourself. Start giving your body the time it needs to heal so that you can come back and you can continue to kick ass.
Oh, wow. Because that's what we're here to do, really. Kick ass.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be clear. That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
Is that what you're here to do?
I am. I say it to my kids sometimes. I'm like, oh, kick ass and take names. And they're like, we do not like that saying. I'm like, well, it's a saying that I grew up with. So
we're going to go with that. Okay? Kick ass and take names.
Kick ass and take names.
I love it. And yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for putting that together. I am so excited myself to jump into this deep sleep hypnosis. We're going to definitely link it below in the show notes. So if those that are listening, it'll be down below. If you're listening on the podcast, and if you're listening elsewhere, well, hop over to the podcast. It'll be in the show notes. So that's really exciting. If people want to be in touch with you, how do they connect with you? If they want some more Chaitali Desai.
Well, I'm on all major social channels. And once you get the deep sleep hypnosis, you can send me an email through there also at info@chaitalibdesai.com.
Well, that's easy.
But look, you'll find me anywhere you guys find Sharice also. All of the social channels.
We're connected everywhere.
We're connected. But I'm wishing you guys the best sleep ever, because as I researched it, it's the sleep that helps you do everything else. From giving your body time to regulate, giving your body time to burn fat in your sleep. Yes, that is a fact that I did not know. And once I found out, that's it. I get all my sleep.
I'm sleeping more. No, but it's so true. And, and I know we've had this conversation before, like years ago when we were working together, more so in my holistic health coaching business, is we were talking, sleep, when we are sleeping, that's when our body does all the heavy lifting, the repairing, the restoring, the renewing. And so if we're not getting enough quality and quantity sleep, then all bets are off in terms of healing. I don't care if you're healing something acute or if you're healing something chronic, all bets are off. And so I don't think we discuss enough the importance of just foundational practices like sleeping.
Yeah, I know it sounds so crazy as an entrepreneur to have that as a priority, because you think like, oh, I got to keep hustling.
Yeah.
You need your sleep. And if you do have a full schedule, 20 minutes of hypnotic sleep is the equivalent of 6 to 8 hours of rested deep sleep. So again, if you need to just get power naps in, start.
There you go. Start somewhere.
Start somewhere.
I love that you even said that, because sometimes we can take on the mindset of all or nothing. Well, I can't sleep 8 hours because I have to do X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. Okay, start where you can. Take a 20-hour power nap. You have a 20-hour. Did I say 20 hours?
I heard it. I was like, wait.
Dang, that's a good power nap. Whoa.
Right.
Take a 20-minute power nap and go from there.
Yeah.
Go from there. But yeah, I love that. So thank you so much for all the wisdom that you shared with us today.
Yes,
this is good stuff. You're welcome.
I'm so excited.
Me too. And I can't wait to have another discussion. Here's the thing. Chaitali and I can have discussions about a lot of things. From, oh gosh, I mean, we talk about alternative healing modalities. We speak the same language as when it comes to, intuition and mindset and chakras and Reiki and hypnosis and subconscious and all that.
All the things.
All the things. And I probably do NLP, all the things, right? So yeah, we'll have to definitely have you back to dive in deeper to some other topics like that.
For sure. I would love it. Thank you so much for having me on today.
You are so welcome. You guys, thank you so much. Chaitali, thank you so much to everyone who's listening. I am so grateful for you and cannot wait to see you or hear you next week for another episode of The Sharice Williams Show. Bye for now.